The thing about negative thoughts, though, is that they can become barriers to us moving forward and achieving the things that we want when we listen to them. Negative thoughts are a little bit like seeds, right? We plant them in our brain, but if we attend to them, right, and if we water them through that attention, they will grow and they will spread. So we actually want to work on some different skills where we take the negative thoughts and we shift them or transform them, or we move away from them altogether.
Welcome to this classic episode of the Spartan Up podcast. We are so excited to bring you these classic episodes because we're able to pull together some of the best insights and tips from the hundreds and hundreds of interviews that we've done on this show. New Year is coming, and look, we want you to strive to be better, to challenge yourself every day. But we know that a lot of you are using New Year as a time to recommit to good health, to strong minds, and to healthy bodies. With that in mind, this is the first in a 3-part series of classic episodes focused on keeping you motivated as you take on these new challenges. Motivation is the positive side, but the truth is, once you start going, negative thoughts will find their way into your mind, whether they come from outside or inside. And in this episode, we have some real, clear tactics that will help you to overcome them. We have 3 guests today. First, Mind Pump's Sal Di Stefano, and he's going to remind you how to think about taking care of your body. Next up is Nate Carr, a former Olympian, a wrestling coach, and as he calls himself, a professional motivator. And last, our own Dr. Lara Pence, with a series of strategic tactics to help you overcome negative thoughts. Again, we are so excited about this episode, and I hope you are too. Let us know in the comments which tactic worked best for you. This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company and FitAid. Race dirty, recover clean with FitAid Sports Recovery Drink. Visit lifeaidbevco.com and enter the code SPARTAN30 at checkout to get 30% off their full line of functional lifestyle beverage blends and Go Powder Sticks. Athletic Brewing Company. Their innovative process allows them to brew great tasting craft beer without the alcohol. New customers can get 10% off their entire order with the code SPARTAN10. Limit 1 per customer. Mind Pump's Sal Di Stefano joined Suffer the Seed Huntress and Johnny Waite at one of our Tahoe World Championships events. This conversation may change the way you think about how you take care of your body.
We've all been in the fitness industry for so long that we've seen a lot of the lies and the myths that have been put out by the fitness industry, usually to sell products or sell magazines. We've also seen how the motivation behind fitness is driven behind the cosmetic. Hating your body, hating the way you look, you're not good enough. And we've seen how unsuccessful that was. I mean, it's very motivating at first to be motivated by hating yourself, but eventually you stop. And the success rate was very, very low. You know, we would train clients and maybe 20% of them would succeed. And if we were being honest with ourselves, we were doing a terrible job as trainers. And so we wanted to create a podcast to change the message a little bit, clear the myths, tell people the truth about nutrition, what really works with fitness, but also, learning to eat right and exercise, not because you hate your body, but because you love your body. And it completely changes the motivation.
That's a nice paradigm shift on it. Like,
really started to dive deep into the root of my insecurities and what drove me to exercise. And the irony is I stopped training for the cosmetic. I started training and eating for the health and because I cared about myself. The irony is I looked better and performed better as a result.
Sure.
It was the side effect of it. Don't eat and exercise because you hate your body. Eat and exercise because you love your body. It's you feed yourself differently when you're nourishing your body versus when you're punishing yourself. The same thing with exercise. If I go to the gym because I hate my body, my workouts are going to be punishments. I'm going to over-apply intensity. I'm going to train the wrong way. If I go in there tired, I'm going to still hammer myself versus maybe take a yoga class or do some meditation. So that would be probably the most important thing that I would tell someone.
Nate Carr, the professional encourager. He's got 2 stories, one inspired by Shamu the whale, and the other by his own personal experiences in the wrestling ring. And if you're watching this one on YouTube, look in the background of the Nate Carr interview.
Let's go right into this. You were giving me some life advice earlier on Shamu the whale, how they got the whale to jump out of the water. And I got to tell you, it was powerful advice. I'm on the planet 45 years, and some things punch you in the nose. That punched me in the nose. So let's talk about that. So how'd they get the whale out of the water?
Well, basically, Joe, a businesswoman saw some trainers at SeaWorld training Shamu, and she began to talk to them about training the whale. And one of the things they did to get Shamu out of the water was when he did something they wanted him to do, they would give him a lot of fish, they would pet him, blow a horn, whatever, and to let him know that they were really pleased. And here's the interesting thing is that when he did something that they didn't like, they basically ignored that behavior. And then when he came back to something that they wanted him to do, then came the fish, the horn, and the petting. And basically the encouragement is what got Shamu out of the water. And what that woman did, the businesswoman, is basically writing in a book. I believe the title was Well Done. And then from there, basically, she implemented it into business and had the bosses, instead of look for something negative, look for something positive and go crazy over it. And the bosses seen their business just take off and grow because the people were encouraged. And of course, when they're encouraged, they're even motivated themselves to do things even while you're not there.
Right, they're motivated. We like to say, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
There you go.
Right?
That's right.
Just get
Stretch
uncomfortable.
yourself.
Yeah.
Stretch yourself, and it's key. And another way of saying stretch yourself is basically making those adjustments, taking the risk, and going for it. And I think the next thing to do is a lot of people train physically hard, Joe, but where they forget to train is from the neck up. And so you have to train dealing with negative thoughts that will come your way. I always say you don't invite negative thoughts, they just come. So you gotta have a way to deal with the thoughts so you can continue giving 100%. Psychosomatic, mind and body coming together.
A couple of guys that met you when you got off the plane, a couple of guys that are hanging around here that do the death race and Spartan races, they said you have a very unique visualization technique to throw away the negative thoughts. Let's go through that.
Well, one of my nemesis was just a famous wrestler, one of the best ever in our country, Kenny Monday. And we wrestled in the Big 8 finals twice, and both times he beat me, but I came back to beat him at the national championships. And so at one national championships, I remember the crowd is like 15, 16,000. From the locker room to the platform, this thought came to me: Kenny Monday pinned you last time. I'm thinking, what? Where'd that come from? So, but fortunately, I had a way of training my mind to be ready for that. And so in my mind, Joe, I would go to this room in my mind, open it up. As soon as I open it up, you could see a large brick fireplace blazing hot. And then inside the room also was a table and a chair with a notebook and a pen. I'd go sit in the chair, Joe, flip the notebook open, write down this statement: Kenny Monday pinned you last time. Crumble it up, throw it into the fire, watch it disintegrate, watch it turn to ash, roll out a new sheet and say, Nate, go hard, you win. And that was my last thought going to the mat. So there was a replacement of thoughts going on, and you have to be able to refocus, to adjust, and to stay focused on something that's going to help you move towards your goal.
And it's simple, right?
Yeah.
It's simple. And so how'd you get that parents, where'd you get that?
Yeah, just reading and just going through different struggles of, you always run into someone who said, you know what, I don't believe you can do it. And I just put a speech together, and I always usually have a suit coat on, right? And I would say, look at them and look toward your heart and say, I hear what you're saying. You don't think I can do it. Then pause and look down and say, but that's not what I dreamed. Don't let them be the last word, but that's not what I dreamed, and I'm moving toward that dream, making it a reality. Even having acrostics for no. No just means next opportunity, Joe.
I love that.
Or
I love
nearing objective. And yes,
next opportunity that's a good one.
Yes is you expecting success, because you got to have a yes to where you're going, Joe, and a no to anybody going in the opposite direction.
I like that. That's great stuff.
We'll be right back to the interview. But first, a little bit from Athletic Brewing Company, today's sponsor. You don't have to choose between an ice-cold beer after a race and your health, thanks to Athletic Brewing Company. Athletic Brewing Company's innovative process allows them to brew great-tasting craft beers without the alcohol, from IPAs to stouts to golden ales and more. They offer a full selection of beers, starting at only 50 calories, so you can keep your head clear and enjoy the refreshing taste of beer anytime and anywhere. And they're part of a program called Two for the Trails. For every product purchased, Athletic Brewing Company donates 2% of sales to protecting and restoring local trails. They're pioneering a craft brew revolution. You don't have to sacrifice being your best to enjoy a great brew. In fact, check out their website to see a list of awards that their beers have won. Check your local store, but if you can't find it, they'll ship it. Place an order at athleticbrewing.com, and you can get free shipping on 2 6-packs or more. And new customers can save 10% off the entire order with the code Spartan10. Limit 1 per customer. FitAid is a clean sports recovery drink. Race dirty, recover clean. You've heard us say it before. FitAid is 45 calories, certified non-GMO tested, vegan, paleo-friendly, certified gluten-free, kosher, and never contains any artificial colors, flavors, sweeteners, or sodium. Even the zero sugar option, it's keto-friendly and has only 5 calories, and it's naturally sweetened with monk fruit and stevia. And then there's FitAid's Recovery Blend. It has glutamine, glucosamine, turmeric, BCAAs, omega-3s, CoQ10, a full B complex, and electrolytes. It's perfect for after your workout, your hike, your bike ride, or your race. Can you imagine drinking a plain old soda when you could have this? FitAid is a product of LifeAid, the functional beverage company, and they're an official partner of our Spartan Race series. Listen, each ice-cold can of FitAid, it contains ingredients to help your body recover, and it never contains any artificial flavors or sweeteners. So visit lifeaidbevco.com, enter the code Spartan30 at checkout, and save 30%, plus you get fast, free shipping. Okay, back to the interview. And finally, we close with our own Dr. Lara Pence, and she's got a series of serious tactics that you can use when negative thoughts creep into your mind.
Today we're talking about letting go of negative thoughts. So what are negative thoughts? I mean, come on. They're just thoughts that are negative, and we all have them, right? So they can be thoughts that center around our insecurities. They can be thoughts about our future and worries about our future. They can be thoughts about other people. We can have negative thoughts about lots of different things. Usually, however, our negative thoughts are mostly self-directed, right? So negative thoughts that we have about ourselves. Things like, I'm not good enough. I'm not athletic. I am stupid. I am too emotional. I am too needy. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the kinds of different negative thoughts that we have. But if you're a human being, more than likely you've had a negative thought in your life at some point in time. The thing about negative thoughts, though, is that they can become barriers to us moving forward and achieving the things that we want when we listen to them. Negative thoughts are a little bit like seeds, right? We plant them in our brain, but if we attend to them, right, and if we water them through that attention, they will grow and they will spread. So we actually want to work on some different skills where we take the negative thoughts and we shift them or transform them, or we move away from them altogether. And here's how we're going to do that, okay? So the first thing to help you work through a negative thought, something you can do is called counter thought, okay? So what you would do is you'd write down the negative thought that you're having, and then you would counter that thought, okay? So let's say the negative thought was, I'm not very athletic, okay? You could write that down and then counter it with, I just ran my first Spartan sprint. There you go. You've got evidence to counter the negative thought, okay? The second thing that you can do is begin to think of negative thoughts as really just that, just thoughts. It doesn't make them fact, and it doesn't make them directive just because you have them, okay? We have thoughts all the time about lots of different things, and we don't always act on them, nor do we always believe them to be true, okay? So when you have a negative thought, one of the things that I want you to do is say to yourself, this is just a thought I'm having. It doesn't have to be fact, and I do not have to act on it, right? So again, if that thought was, I'm not very athletic, I'm just having that thought that I'm not very athletic. It doesn't mean I'm not athletic, and it doesn't mean that I necessarily have to train harder at the gym. It's just a thought. That's all it is. Okay? So just seeing them literally as thoughts, okay? And then the third thing that I want you to think about doing is removing judgment about having that thought in the first place. So often individuals in my office will tell me that they're mad at themselves for thinking that way. Okay, well, that's just not very useful, right? It's not useful to place judgment on thoughts that you don't have control of. You have control of how you respond to the thought, but the thought can become so automatic that actually its arrival is out of your control. But when you place judgment on it, it makes it worse, right? It's like your sandbag getting wet down with rain, okay, which we all know sucks. So you want to remove the judgment, okay? If you find yourself judging a negative thought that you have, try not to do that. It's, no, it's not great that maybe you're not being very kind to yourself, but then getting mad at yourself for not being kind to yourself isn't helpful either. Have some compassion for yourself, work on those other two things, countering, and then just thinking about it as a thought, and try to let it go, okay? So those 3 things are going to be helpful for you, all right?
You've got the tools now. There's no excuse. Get out there and get healthy. Let us know which of these tactics worked best for you. Message Joe at Real Joe DeSena on Instagram, or go straight to the podcast at Spartan Up Podcast on Instagram. And keep an eye out for 2 more of these classic episodes on motivation. In the meantime, Joe DeSena, the founder and CEO of Spartan, is here every Tuesday with new interviews and information. Jared and Yancey from DecaFit will keep you fired up and ready to go. And there's lots more. We are here 3 days every week to keep you on track. Let us be your virtual partner in resilience and mindset. This episode of Spartan Up is brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company and FitAid. Race dirty, recover clean with FitAid Sports Recovery Drink. Visit lifeaidbevco.com and enter the code Spartan30 at checkout to get 30% off their full line of functional lifestyle beverage blends and Go powder sticks. Athletic Brewing Company. Their innovative process allows them to brew great tasting craft beer without the alcohol. New customers can get 10% off their entire order with the code Spartan10. Limit 1 per customer.